Dear friends and fellows, 90% of accidents are caused by human error in the construction, 85% of accidents in manufacturing, 80 to 85% in maritime vessels. In the road transportation, the percentage of accidents is 85%, while in the chemical industry, it is 80 to 90% just because of human error. As per the research of behavior science technology, 80 to 95% of all accidents are caused by unsafe behavior of human beings. In other words, it means because of human factors, because of human mistakes and errors. Welcome to HSC tutorial. Today, we are discussing the personal factors, errors and mistakes. How many types of errors and how many types of mistakes. I'm your host, Javed, and you are watching Safety First. If you are new on this channel, kindly subscribe the channel. And if you find the video informative, then like, comment, and share. First of all, let us understand what is the difference between errors and mistakes. An error is an unintentional deviation from an accepted standard, whereas a violation is a deliberate deviation from the accepted standard. Dear friends and fellows, human errors fall into three groups: slips, lapses, and mistakes, which has been further subdivided into rule-based and knowledge-based mistakes. First of all, we'll see what is slips and lapse. These are very similar in that they are caused by a momentary memory loss, often due to lack of attention or loss of concentration. They are not related to levels of training, experience, or motivation, and they can usually be reduced by redesigning the job or equipment or minimizing distractions. Slips are failures to carry out the correct actions of a task. Examples include the use of incorrect switch, reading the wrong dial, or selecting the incorrect component for an assembly. A slip also describes an action taken too early or too late within a given working procedure. Now we will see what is lapse. Lapses are failures to carry out particular actions which may form part of a working procedure. A forklift truck driver leaving the keys in the ignition lock of his truck is an example of a lapse, as is the failure to replace the petrol cap on a car after filling it with petrol. Lapses may be reduced by redesigning equipment so that, for example, an audible horn indicates the omission of a task. They may also be reduced significantly by the use of detailed checklists. Now the question is how mistakes occurs. Mistakes occurs when an incorrect action takes place, but the person involved believes the action to be correct. A mistake involves an incorrect judgment. There are two types of mistakes: rule-based mistake and knowledge-based mistake. Firstly, we will discuss what is rule-based mistake. Rule-based mistakes occur when a rule or procedure is remembered or applied incorrectly. These mistakes usually happen when, due to an error, the rule that is normally used no longer applies. For example, a particular job requires the counting of items into groups of 10, followed by the adding together of the groups so that the total number of items may be calculated. If one of the groups is miscounted, the final total will be incorrect, even though the rule has been followed. But knowledge-based mistakes occur when well-tried methods or calculation rules are used inappropriately. For example, the depth of the foundations required for a particular building was calculated using a formula. The formula, which assumed a clay soil, was used to calculate the foundation depth in a sandy soil. The resultant building was unsafe. This is the example of knowledge-based mistake. Dear friends and fellows, you are watching Safety First, and today we are discussing about errors and mistakes under the domain of personal factor, because personal factors are causing 90% of total industrial accidents. You have to remember the identified potential source of human errors in the first stage. What human errors can occur with each task? What influences are there on performance? It might be time, pressure, design of controls, displays and procedures, training and experience, fatigue, or levels of supervision. What are the consequences of the identified errors? What are the significant errors? Are there opportunities for detecting each error and recovering it? Are there any relationships between the identified errors? Could the same error be made on more than one item of equipment due, for example, to the incorrect calibration of an instrument? Dear friends and fellows, errors and mistakes can be reduced by the use of instruction, training, and relevant information. However, communication can also be a problem, particularly at shift handover time. Environmental and organizational factors involving workplace stress will also affect error levels. The following steps are suggested to reduce the likelihood of human error. Number one, examine and reduce the workplace stressors. For example, noise, poor lighting, etc., which increase the frequency of errors. Number two, examine and reduce any social or organizational stressors. For example, insufficient staffing levels or peer pressure. Number three, design plant and equipment to reduce error possibilities. Number four, ensure that there are effective training arrangements. Number five, simplify any complicated or complex procedure. Number six, ensure that there is adequate supervision, particularly for inexperienced or young workers or trainees. Number seven, check that job procedures, instructions, and manuals are kept up to date and are clear. Number eight, include the possibility of human error when undertaking the risk assessment. Number nine, isolate the human error element of any accident or incident and introduce measures to reduce the risk of a repeat. And number 10, monitor the effectiveness of any measures taken to reduce errors. After the discussion of errors, now let us see what are violations. There are three categories of violation: routine, situational, and exceptional. We'll discuss one by one. Routine violation occurs when the breaking of a safety rule or procedure is the normal way of working. It becomes routine not to use the recommended procedures for tasks. An example of this is the regular speeding of forklift trucks in a warehouse so that orders can be fulfilled on time, promptly, and quickly. Do you know the reasons for routine violations? Taking shortcuts to save time and effort or energy. A belief that the rules are unworkable or too restrictive, lack of knowledge of the procedures, perception that the rules are no longer applied, poor supervision, and a lack of enforcement of the rules. New workers thinking that routine violations are the norm and not realizing that this was not the safe way of working. At the end of the day, it must be recognized that there are some situations where peer pressure or simply a willful disregard for procedures or other people's safety may result in routine violations. Let us discuss how to reduce the level of routine violations by a regular monitoring, by ensuring that the rules are actually necessary, or by redesigning the job. Poor working posture due to poor ergonomic design of the workstation or equipment difficult to use and are slow in response, equipment difficult to maintain, or pressure on time available for maintenance, procedures unduly complicated and difficult to understand, unreliable instrumentation and or warning systems, high levels of noise and other poor aspects to the environment such as fumes, dust and humidity, associated personal protective equipment either inappropriate, difficult and uncomfortable to wear, or ineffective due to lack of maintenance. So these are the reasons, these are the common reasons of routine violation. Let us understand what is meaning by situational violations. Situational violations occur when particular job pressures at particular times make rule compliance difficult. They may happen when the correct equipment is not available or weather conditions are adverse. A common example is the use of a ladder rather than a scaffold for working at height to replace window frames in a building. Situational violations may be reduced by improving job design, the working environment, and by supervision. Do you know what are exceptional violations? Exceptional violations rarely happen and usually occur when a safety rule is broken to perform a new task. Good examples of this are the violations which can occur during the operations of emergency procedures, such as for fires or explosions. These violations should be addressed in risk assessments and during the training sessions for emergencies. For example, such as fire trainings. Everybody is capable of making errors. It is the one of the objectives of a positive health and safety culture to reduce them and their consequences as much as possible. Dear friends and fellows, in short, you have to remember the 12 preconditions of error. Number one, lack of communication. Number two, complacency. Number three, lack of knowledge. Number four, distractions. Number five, lack of resources. Number six, stress. Number seven, lack of teamwork. Number eight, fatigue. Number nine, lack of awareness. Number 10, norms. Number 11, lack of assertiveness. And number 12, pressure. These are the conditions, or these are the factors that lead to a personal mistake or error in a workplace. You have to concentrate on these 12 preconditions or factors on every single day and all the time throughout the site operational period in the shortest possible way. You have to learn how you can control over the problems, over human mistakes and errors, the sequence for identifying potential hazards, and recommendations for hazard reduction are task analysis. How will product be used? Environmental analysis. Where will product be used? User analysis. Who will use the product? Hazard identification. What is the likelihood of hazard with the product? Generate methods for hazard control. What might eliminate hazards? Evaluate alternatives. How will alternative designs affect product performance? And lastly, select hazard control. Given alternatives, what is best designed to minimize hazards? These few points can help you to identify and control the hazards. Dear colleagues and HSC professionals, act as a team leader. Show your professional potential and strength. Make good decisions, but in time, and communicate to your workforce. Hopefully, you will be able to manage safely, efficiently, and successfully for the upgradation of your business and for the betterment of your workforce. And that's it. A short training session on the topic of human errors and mistakes is over now. If you have any question, please ask in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. Hope to see you soon with a new HSC tutorial. Till then, take care. Good luck and Allah Hafiz.